Something in me.
Hello everybody, this is So Many Robots getting ready to go with DSD versus Team America. I am solo casting this week, but hopefully you guys will be just fine without Vic joining me. Looks like we're just about to get in game. I think I did some rejiggering with the stream that I really should have done before. But it looks like we're good to go. OBS is telling me good things about the condition of the stream, so loading into game. Someday, dear audience, I will get an SSD so that you don't have to put up with my long-ass loading screens. I'm just waiting to get in game here. Once again, for those who are just joining us, I am So Many Robots. Hello everyone, this is So Many Robots here for Dota Battles Week 6, Game 1, DSD versus Team America. I'm solo casting this evening without my usual partner Vic, but we should get going into the draft here in just a moment. Alright, once again, welcome everybody to Dota Battles Week 6, Season 1, DSD versus Team America. Let's get going into this draft. Right off the bat, we can see an Ember Spirit ban coming out. In Captain's Draft, usually what I look to first is supports, and there are not a lot of supports in this pool today. I see an Undying, I see an Axe who sometimes runs support. Occasionally you see support Spirit Breaker, support Tusk. I see a Chen, Visage, Warlock, Windrunner, Enigma. So that's really who I'm expecting the teams to be reaching for here. A lot of viable carries in this pool, a lot of very strong agility heroes and strength heroes. I myself, as you might judge by my stream's offline image, I'm a big fan of the carry Tiny. So we'll see what 343 and Torn Chewy are going to reach for here. I see a Bloodseeker ban, following up that Ember Spirit and a Death Prophet. So Team America really not wanting to deal with that strong push coming out from the Death Prophet, and not wanting to deal with the Ember Spirit in general, which I think is pretty fair. Even pro teams these days are a little hesitant about letting that Ember Spirit through. We can see 343 takes out the Bounty Hunter, trying to avoid the power that Bounty has to blow the early game wide open if he starts getting some good track kills coming in. First pick Visage for Team America. Not that surprising at all, given the sort of paucity of supports in the pool here. And 343 is going to reply with a Batrider and a Chen. So I expect that Batrider is going to be solo mid. Pro teams often run Batrider in the off lane these days, but that's a little bit less common down here in the 3 to 4k MMR range. But we could see it. You can see both teams going for a pretty passive early game. We've got an Enigma and a Chen in a jungle. We'll have to see if that Chen gets very active around the map, or if he just AFK jungles, takes his time, farms up some arcanes, farms up a mech. So we'll see. That early pressure really could come into play in DSD's favor if that Enigma is taking a little bit longer. Chen, as many viewers probably know, is a lot more capable of getting active early. Enigma really needs to get his levels up. Really kind of wants to get level 6 before he comes out of the jungle. And there's the Tiny coming out for Team America. So it's possible this is a solo mid. My money would be on the safe lane hard farming carry. I love hard carry Tiny. It's absolutely one of my favorites. And there's a Warlock Shadow Fiend coming out for DSD. So I'm guessing that Shadow Fiend is probably their solo mid. I'd assume probably a support Warlock. Warlock's one of the supports that's very greedy. He really loves his levels. And with the Chen in the jungle, he might actually be able to get them at some sort of a decent click. And a Meepo! A Meepo pick for Team America. 5th pick Meepo. I am excited for this. I am very, very excited. I'm gonna be curious to see how Notavirus chooses to run this Meepo. If I had to guess, I mean, we'll see when they start to go into the lanes, but it's looking to me like that's probably a solo mid Meepo. I am a little bit concerned in that solo mid and Tiny on the same team is very greedy. Tiny's sort of usually run as a big late game sort of play. But let's go over the lineups real quick. We'll start with DSD over on the Radiant. We've got the captain, 3-4-3, taking that Shadow Fiend, probably over to the mid lane. Bear on the Warlock. Shin Jumper, the stand-in on the Batrider. Dux taking that jungle Chen. Dux, by the way, is the sickest. I hear he's got the flu these days. And 6-7 on the Tusk. Supposedly I didn't even talk about that Tusk during the draft. I'm going to be real curious about these lanes, how they're going to shape up. It looks like that is the off-lane Batrider for Shin Jumper, while 3-4-3 is setting himself up for the mid lane. Meanwhile, going over to Dire, we can see Team Murica has their courier. It's very nice Fezzlefi. He's just kind of hanging out in the jungle. Not certain why. We got Avalor, the stand-in on the Visage. Stand-in Frack, who's probably going to be taking an off-lane Windrunner, it looks like to me. Not a Virus EXE, taking that Meepo into mid. Captain Torn Chewy on your jungle Enigma. And Steep Hill on your safe lane farming Tiny. We can see Shin Jumper already warding up the pole camp, trying to keep that problem out of place. We can see 6-7 and Bear joining Dux on the Chen, going down into their own jungle. So it looks like that's going to be farming Tusk, I think.
And they're off.
Yeah, I would assume that's a farming Tusk. We got a smoke up on the Chen already, so I'll be excited to see if there's some early action. We got this jungle ward for Team Murica, spotting out the double damage rune. Up on top we can see Torn Chewy. It looks like he took one of Notavirus's creeps from the very start, so that's going to give him a bit of an advantage. I'm really curious what this courier is doing right here in the middle of the jungle. It's very, very strange to me, but we'll have to see. You can see the lanes taking shape. Avalor just trying to harass Shin Jumper out a little bit there. We can see Bear pinging out onto Frack over in that jungle. Frack's just trying to cause what mayhem he can. Might be... yeah, I see. So he's placing a Magic Bush ward over here. So for those who don't know, this ward spot, specifically that bush right there, is capable of blocking up both of these pole camps right here. So if DSD doesn't de-ward that, they're going to have a lot of trouble utilizing their jungle. Shin Jumper getting zoned out very strongly by Avalor so far. There's a ping coming out, I think, from Bear, so I think they know about that ward. We'll see if they buy up some sentries to counter it. Going over to the mid lane, we can see Notavirus and 3-4-3 trading hits. 3-4-3 really just content to harass Notavirus to his heart's content. 6-1 for the Shadow Fiend, 4-0 for the Meepo, so not a huge edge in CS for 3-4-3. But we'll see how this continues to develop. Bear and Frack going over. It looks like it is 6-7 farming up that Tusk. So that safe lane farming Tusk is an interesting choice. Not totally one I dislike, given that they've already got the hard carry Shadow Fiend farming up in mid. I think it's fine, but they're running a bit of a hero with less scaling potential over in their safe lane. Be curious. Notavirus gets a second Meepo, immediately gets aggressive on 3-4-3, does a lot of damage, gets the net, got the double poof off. 3-4-3 might go down here, and he does. That's first blood going to Notavirus. Very nicely played from him, taking immediate advantage of that second Meepo at the very moment he got it, I believe.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
Over to offlane, we can see Frack taking some damage, getting forced out again by 6-7 and Dux. Let's check. That's not levels, that's levels. We can see Frack, level 2, not too bad. He's managed to get some experience for himself over there. Not doing quite as well as Shin Jumper, but not getting completely shut out either. You can see the Tiny's farming much better than the Tusk at this point. Tusk at 8-1, Tiny at 12-1. Still not an enormous difference. At 3 minutes into the game, 13 CS over 9 isn't that huge an edge. So we'll see. Still mostly pretty passive, not seeing any rotations out of these supports, which isn't surprising at all, given that both teams are running a jungler. I'll be curious what the stats are like Let's check the net worth on our two junglers here. We got 1240 on the Enigma, 500 on the Chen. So that's probably just a testament to how much havoc Frack has been playing down in this bottom lane. He keeps pulling Chen away from his jungle and just bothering him, slowing him down a lot. You can see poof coming out from not a virus, but it looks like he either whiffed it or cancelled it. This mid lane matchup is probably the most liable to produce some excitement. Over here we already saw that first blood. We'll see if they choose to go on one another. Once again, Steep Hill just static farming away. Shin Jumper playing very, very scared. He's staying very far back off of these creeps. With the wave pushed up as far as it is, he's very concerned about Avalor and this Visage slipping around behind him. Both teams actually already have a smoke in their inventory, which is exciting to see. In this skill bracket, you don't necessarily see teams making a ton of use of their smokes. So I'm excited to see if these teams are going to make something happen with it. Avalor harassing out Shin Jumper, doing a little bit of work. We can see not a virus off roaming through the jungle. I'm not certain if that's... I would assume he's trying to hunt for a kill on Dux and just didn't check that last camp. Yeah, I think he's hunting for a kill, but he's not going to find us. He's going to poof into mid. 343 will back off. He's not really going to take any damage there. 343, oh, and there's that smoke popped. Avalor and Torn Chu is smoking up in the jungle. Getting ready, looks like they're going to make a play on 343 here in the mid. So they're going to back off. Dux has already come in with a Wildkin trying to tornado Notavirus out of the lane, so that might make them a little bit more hesitant. He's got the Chen at least, but here they go. Avalor comes in, doesn't get the Grave Chill off. 343 immediately spots it and backs away. Very nicely done on his part. And Avalor is actually taking a lot of damage. Is 343? Yes, he does. Very nicely played by 343. Throws out one auto attack and then a Shadow Raise at max range. Just barely clips the Visage and gets himself a nice kill. So that'll go a long way to helping him. And we can see he's already recovered in... Well, I would say he's already recovered in this lane, except I'm betting that the net worth graph is bugged for Meepo. I'm pretty sure it is. We might just have to guess about Meepo's net worth. I'm willing to believe that Shadow Fiend's doing better after that kill because he does have a significant edge up on CS. We can see Shin Jumper getting a little aggressive up on Steep Hill in this top lane. Frack on the other side's currently at full health, not really taking a whole lot, but Dux is rotating over. He got one Centaur in tow. He's only level 3, so he doesn't have the opportunity yet to get up a second creep. It looks like he wants to make something happen on this Windrunner. Diebear in 6-7, hanging out. Diebear is already level 4. Getting good XP. Oh, and the Ice Shards whiffs. Snowball comes in, immediate Windrun away. Frack's very close to his own tower. I don't think they're going to be able to get this. No, they're not. Just going to need a little bit of tower damage for their troubles. Shin Jumper, meanwhile, eating some aggression. Nice Avalanche, catches him out at max range, but it's not going to be enough to take him down. And he's already level 6. So comparing him, the Wind Ranger is also 6. So very even all around so far, I would say. No huge disparities in levels coming out. Not even any huge disparities in gold, I don't think. Like I said, the net worth chart is misleading because I think it's mismeasuring Notavirus's gold, and hopefully that won't ruin the graphs for the whole game. We'll have to see. Alright, we can see Notavirus sending one Meepo into DSD's jungle. Off hunting. He's really got a grudge against that Chen. I'm not certain if he saw the Chen there and backed off. I think he must have. Poofs into mid, doesn't catch DSD. Really, I'm very impressed with how well DSD has done in this lane, given that he lost the first blood. Of course, Meepo, not one of the heroes who's really going to pressure him a whole lot. You know, Shadow Fiend is one of those mid laners who's really susceptible to early pressure. If you can keep him down from the start, prevent him from getting his souls up, he never really becomes that sort of lane terror. Oh, and here we go, DSD. 343, sorry, pops a haste rune, chases straight after Notavirus. Is he going to be able to? Yes, he does. He poofs back away to base where he's got a second Meepo running really hard to kill a Meepo when you don't have some sort of lockdown form. Shin Jumper getting a little aggressive on Steep Hill, but not too much. Wisely not going in close where he might potentially eat that tiny combo. I don't know if he checked Steep Hill's mana or not. Steep Hill doesn't currently have enough. And we see Meepo buys up a smoke. The Notavirus poofs into mid lane. Hanging out. and we can see he's got a Visage here. Avalor and one of the Meepos smoke up together. You can see Avalor and Notavirus heading straight down towards bottom. Passing up that illusion rune, not wanting to betray their presence to DSD if they're keeping an eye on the rune there. Hunting around in jungle, I think it looks like they're pinging out on bottom lane. We're going to see if they're going to make anything happen. We got 6-7 eating a Warlock here. Notavirus comes in. Avalor is here. Nice shackle. Catches 6-7 out to a tree. I can't imagine he's going to live here. Oh, buys himself a little bit of time with the snowball. Nice Ice Shard. Does a lot of damage to Frack. Soul Assumption comes in just to secure the kill. Warlock slow comes out trying to hold them in. Oh, Frack very nearly goes down. 8 hit points after that raise, but now 3-4-3 is netted up. Power Shot comes in over the top. And it looks like Team America, looks like Team America is just going to back off of this one, not going to try to go any further. I think if they'd gotten aggressive, they might have gotten that. But wait, I'm missing something up on top. Steep hill, Shin Jumper dives the tower. Big kill for him, solo killing that Tiny, gets away. One tower hit shy. Torn Chewy's trying to catch up, but I don't think he's gonna. Very nicely done by Shin Jumper, picking up a solo kill over there. We can see in the mid lane 6-7. Snowballs onto Notavirus, who just poofs himself back to safety. Once again, very hard to kill that Meepo when you don't have hard lockdown, and there's really not a whole lot on DSD. They've got the Warlock stun, they've got Chen's chain stuns, if he can get them off. We can see over on bottom lane DSD with that Chen pushing. A lot of TPs coming in. We've got a TP coming in from Enigma, TP coming in from Notavirus. Double poof comes in, big raise, catches both Meepos. Great shackle, shackle's a creep to Dux. Divebear taking a lot of damage, one of the Meepos very low. Big black hole comes in, catches them both. Catches all three. I'm not sure if that was 2 or 3 heroes caught in the black hole, but it was certainly enough. Notavirus going to have to be careful. Fatal Bonds on both, but now he's got both of his Meepos out of attack range. Huge pickup by Team Murica, bringing down all 3 of those heroes on the bottom lane and keeping the tower up too. It's very, very low, just above deny range. Great job getting that black hole by Torn Chewy.
Dyer's mid tower could use a little help.
And now we can see Steep Hill, Frack, and Avalor are going to put some pressure onto this bottom tower on their own. TPing in to the tier 2 is Divebear, but he's only 5, doesn't have his Golem up yet, which is what they're going to need. An aggressive ward coming out from Avalor in DSD's jungle. 3-4-3 ports in, try to hold this tower, throwing out some raises, doing a little damage to Steep Hill. Frax waiting on the side, wants to get aggressive, throws out a shackle, but doesn't latch on anything, and they're just going to back off. They've already lost the creep wave in mid lane. We see Notavirus continuing to farm up, working straight away on that Ags, and already very close, just 1,500 gold away at this point, looks like. Over in the jungle, we can see Torn Chewy's got a Soul Ring, is farming up a fast mech for his team, which is very nice. On Enigma, it's pretty open what you want to build for your first item. You can go for that Blink Dagger for better black holes. You can go for the black hole for the BKB, sorry, to make sure you don't get your black holes interrupted. Now that tower goes down to deny range. DSC is working on it, and nicely done by Steep Hill getting that deny.
Radiant's mid tower could use
looks like they're all going to back up, but wait, over on top we can see Notavirus going on this Batrider, gets the net, double poof comes out, Malefice Shin Jumper just barely gets netted, nicely done. Gets brought down, and I didn't see when I think Notavirus gets his 3rd Meepo at level 10, so he must have had that Meepo before he went in for that gank. Oh, but great Ice Shards comes out, 6-7. Snowball's in on Enigma, Shadow Word coming out on Notavirus, who's just going to run away. They don't have the lockdown to kill this Meepo. Yeah, they're just going to force Meepo and Torn Chewy back a little bit. And all 3 Meepos are going to head back towards the well. Nicely done. Looks like I might have missed a little bit of action over on bottom lane, but no kills coming out, just a little bit of skirmishing. Torn Chewy hanging out alone at this tower, feeling a little dangerous for him with Divebear still in the neighborhood, but Divebear still doesn't have level 6, doesn't have that Warlock Golem to drop on the proceedings. Ice Shards comes out, but Notavirus is back in town now. Divebear very far in, catches the Fatal Bonds out on Torn Chewy, but doesn't catch anybody, and Torn Chewy goes down to the Walrus Punch from 6-7. Very nicely done from him. Over here in the bottom river, we can see Frack and Dux just kind of dueling from the cliff side. Frack went very low in that, but not going to go down. Switching over to mid, we've got Avalor putting a little bit of pressure on this mid tower. About just a couple of chip hits. Nothing serious. There's that Blink Dagger up for Shin Jumper. That's really when Batrider starts to get terrifying. And a 13-minute Blink Dagger, pretty respectable. Normally on a pro offlane Batrider you'll be going for 8 minutes, but that's not to cast aspersions on Shin Jumper. If he were a pro player, he'd be on a pro team, and given the lane he was up against, I think he's just fine with that 13-minute blink. He's got Lasso up, so we'll see what he's going to try to make happen. Not a virus. It's very close out here. Torn Chewy also. Ice Shards comes out, doesn't hit on anything. I was going to say, getting back to discussing the lockdown that DSD have to control this Meepo. They've got the Chen stuns. They've got the Warlock Golem. Ice Shards is only pseudo lockdown. It's not enough to prevent Meepo from poofing out. And they've got this Flaming Lasso on Batrider, which I think is going to be... Oh, and there we go. Flaming Lasso onto Torn Chewy, dragging him back. DSD lands a couple of great raises on Torn Chewy. Gets the black hole off, but immediately gets cancelled. Avalor gets popped by the Walrus Punch from 6-7. Power shot and double poof coming in. There's that Golem coming in, doing a lot of damage to Frack. Is he going to get away? Not a virus, just barely goes down to the auto attacks from 3-4-3 and Shin Jumper. Oh, nicely done. Steep Hill comes in and tosses like a creep onto the Warlock to make that 3 for 2. So a good trade for DSD, but at least Team Merc is able to get a couple of return kills. Now Windrunner just trying to use that power shot spam to prevent the push from coming in over the top, and 3-4-3 and Shin Jumper are wisely just going to retreat at this point. Meanwhile, over in mid, Dux is starting to gear up for a push onto this mid tier 1. So we'll see what he's going to be able to get. The TP comes in from Not a Virus, who's immediately going to go on Dux, gets 2 poofs off. Centaur stuns come out. Dux pops the Hand of God. Lots of poof damage coming out. Immediate Shadow Raise is coming in. Is he going to be able to bring down Not a Virus? Yes, he does. Nicely done. Trading a Chen for a Meepo. Avalor is trying to slow down 3-4-3, but isn't nearly enough. Very nicely done by Dux, staying alive long enough, and staying in actually. I thought he was going to back out immediately, but by staying in, fighting that Meepo a little bit, and delaying it, he was able to save enough time for 3-4-3 to show up and make that trade, which is a very nice trade in favor of DSD. I'm really enjoying this game so far. It's quite even, a lot of back and forth. Let's check the graphs, though they might be wrong. They're showing us, looks like 1,000 XP in favor of Team Murica or Team USA, which I'm probably going to start saying USA, it's easier. And about the same, just 1,500 gold. 15 minutes, 1,500 gold is not a significant lead at all. Like I said, a very wide open game. And really nicely done by DSD, getting those 2 kills on the Meepo, who really was starting to snowball. And for the time being, at least, has had his snowball arrested a little bit. We see the line getting drawn by Warlock coming out. Steep Hill gets aggressive, very nearly brings him down, but it's not enough. 6-7 throws out the shards, connects very nicely, gets the snowball off on Steep Hill. Walrus Punch, Steep Hill running away. Has enough mana for both spells. There's the Warlock slow coming out. Not a Virus shows up, nets out 6-7. Great toss, tossing in the Meepo onto him, who's slowed down by the Sigil. There's going to be enough. Throws out the Ice Shards, and it's nowhere near. Not a Virus blows the Tusk up with more good poofs. But now we see Shin Jumper going in, blinking, catches the lasso onto Steep Hill, drags him back into fire. 3-4-3 also showed up on the backside here, but immediately gets Malefist up, goes down, nearly there we go. Not a Virus dies to an auto attack from Warlock. Shin Jumper chasing down Torn Chewy. Lots of deaths on both sides. Steep Hill throws out the Avalanche, trying to save his friend. Nicely done, tossing Shin Jumper back towards Diebear, who's down at 43. Looks like he's going to go down. Yep, he gets Malefist up by Enigma. What a bloodbath there. I think that wound up being a 1 for 4. Yeah, I don't think there's any heroes who quickly respawn. Let me just check. Yeah, no buybacks. 1 for 4. Very nicely played by Team USA. Here we see the drum coming out for Tusk. Well, we've got a moment. That reminds me to look at the item progressions. Arcane Boots up on the Enigma. We can see a Yasha already out on 3-4-3 on that Shadow Fiend with a Morbid Mask. I'd assume that's going into either a Helm of the Dominator or a Mask of Madness. We'll see which. Mech is already up on Chen, just as the Mech is up on Torn Chewy's Enigma. Meepo getting very, very close to his Ags. He's at 875 gold, so he's just a hair away from it. And he'll start getting a lot scarier once he's got his full complement of Meepos on the field. We can see he's also approaching... yeah, so I guess the Ags will get him up to 4, and I think level 18 is when he now gets the last one. The description doesn't say. I'll have to check, and we can see there's the Ags up for Tiny, so that's the other very big item that Team USA has really been waiting for. That Ags just exponentially increases Tiny's farm speed. We can see a slow coming out on 6-7. Diebear's really gotten a lot of mileage out of aggressive posturing with this Warlock. even though normally Warlock is not a terribly frightening hero. He kind of sits at the back of the fight, typically, waiting to drop the Golem until that best moment, and we can see going over, looking at the vision, he's just hiding in these trees. He's been doing this all game, basically, hoping that Dire doesn't see him, doesn't know that he's there, and lets him get a great Golem off. We can see over here, Nonavirus gets the net on 3-4-3, tons of damage coming out, poofs in the whole complement, immediately bursts down that Shadow Fiend. That's just the power of the Meepo. If he catches you and gets a full set of poofs off, meanwhile Diebear gets Malefist up over on top lane. Frak comes in, Black Hole catches two, Diebear and 6-7 both. Diebear goes down in the Black Hole, Steepill comes in, gets the Avatos off, down goes the Tusk, that's 3 kills for nothing, and that's going to be a tower at least going down. Very nicely played by Team USA there. I was commenting in the draft how I thought it was a little risky going for two heroes as hungry as the Meepo and the Tiny, but it's really working out for them so far. Notavirus has been playing an excellent Meepo so far this game, and really hasn't gotten controlled at all. We can see with that tree up on the Tiny, that tower is just melting down. Visage Birds, the Enigma Eidolons, there's an enormous amount of push once Team USA gets all of the artillery set up in place. Avalor getting a little close here. Been just going to drop one bird and going to stalk them out. Looks like that bird's probably going to go down. Yes, it will. Let's see. No, Avalor did not have a resummon. There's a nice trick that you can often do when you drop birds in a dangerous place. You can resummon them right as they're about to respawn, but he didn't have the resummon available to him. Right there we can see he's got the Medallion of Courage and no other items. Currently at 1400 gold, so I'm curious to see what he's going to go for. Shin Jumper gets his 4-staff up. That's huge. Going to get a lot more mileage out of these drags. Diebear setting up. Looks like we're going to get at least a 4-on-3 engagement. And there's the blink. Batrider blinks in, catches Tornchewy, drags him back. Walrus Punch comes out, immediately blows up that Enigma. Very nicely done by DSD. And there's a Blink Dagger up on Meepo. So this makes it much scarier trying to contest Notavirus here once he's got this blink. He's been doing pretty well on his poof timing all game, so I'm excited to see him get some blink poofs off. Steep Hill throws out the Avalanche. Oh, gets caught by the Ice Shard. Snowball comes in. All of DSD's heroes are here. Instantly take down that Tiny. Power Shot comes out over the top, but then Chen just pops the Hand of God to heal everybody back up close to full. And there's that Mask of Madness up on 3-4-3. So he's going to be going full glass cannon at least for now. Outputting a whole lot of damage, but susceptible to taking more when he's got that mask up. And down goes the tower. And we can see pings coming out on bottom lane. Ducks buying up his Arcane Boots. The Dire Secret Shop. Avalor putting a little bit of pressure onto top, but it doesn't look like his team's going to show up. And in fact, Ice Shards just barely misses. It's not enough to break a TP. But if they'd managed to catch out Avalor there, that could have been very, very bad. Going over, looks like everything's quiet for the moment, but it looks like Diebear and Shin Jumper might run into Notavirus and Tornchewy here while they're just dropping a ward. Notavirus is here. He's got his Blink Dagger. 4 Radiant Heroes, though. If he goes in, this would be a huge mistake. And they're already pinging it out. Batrider pops Firefly, does have Lasso. Ice Shard misses, catches that Enigma again. He's been doing an excellent job of isolating this Enigma every game. Really just great judgment coming out from Shin Jumper. I'm really liking his game over here. But over on the bottom lane, it looks like they're going to at least trade a tier 1. As Notavirus and Frak do a lot of damage on that, burst it down very quickly. Looks like DSD is going to get the Dire's jungle tier 1 at least. But we'll see. It looks like they're going to keep going, trying to push onward. Notavirus has all 5 Meepos over on the bottom lane. And let's take a look very briefly. Looking at the level disparity, we can see Notavirus level 17. Just towering over the rest of the field here, which is really what Meepo does since he earns XP with all 5 heroes. And we can see he by himself, it looks like he's going to be able to bring down this tier 2, while the entire Radiant team is pushing on their side. He's not pushing quite as fast, but he is going to get the trade. And DSD is not stopping. They're going in for that tier 3, and I think Meepo's going to have to port back for this one. Tornchewy walks in, gets a huge black hole.
Somebody's cooking.
Oh, followed up by a huge blink poof. 4 men dead. Shin Jumper's the only one out. Fantastic black hole from Toranjui, and really just a big mistake coming out from DSD, grouping up to eat a big black hole like that, and very well done by Toranjui and Nautilus comboing up, throwing out that huge amount of damage to take advantage of it. I really wish the net worth worked for me, but there's the Blink Dagger coming out for Toranjui, so he's already got the mech, got the Soul Ring, and now with his Blink Dagger up, you can see he's not going to have to stroll in like he did for that black hole, but is really going to be able to do a much more frightening job of blinking in and catching the team off guard with those black holes. That's just CDD. I don't know if he got any of those kills. It doesn't look like it. Looks like everybody else got kills, but he still got credit for 4 assists there. And Boots of Travel up on Shin Jumper's Bat Rider. Just going for a very high move speed build, which synergizes very well with Lasso. Of course, sort of the slightly more traditional build on a Bat Rider would be to go for Power Treads or maybe Arcane Boots, but Travels are not at all uncommon. Again, just going for high move speed so he can get as much distance out of that Flaming Lasso as he possibly can. Let's take a quick look at the items. You can see Vanguard up on Tusk, going Vanguard after the Drum of Endurance, which is a little bit interesting. Let's see Hyperstone up on Steep Hill's Tiny already, so it looks like he's going to be going in for the AC. Not a Virus with a Mystic Staff, and Frack with a pair of Javelins, so it looks like Frack's going to be going for that MKB, so that's interesting. This Windrunner building more of a carry build rather than the more utility-oriented style you expect a lot more these days. And I'm curious, looks like we've still got a little bit of downtime. Aghanims comes out for Visage, so that's a huge pickup for Avalor. Nautilus catches out the Tusk, blinks in, big snowball, buys him a moment. Shin Jumper grabs one Meepo, tries to drag it off. There we can see that's that control coming out. That's the problem with Meepo, is that if you drag away one Meepo, he's still got 4 that can do whatever he wants. Frack, 4 staffs in, throws out a shackle, but it doesn't latch. And that's going to be, I think just 1 free kill, but it looks like I missed something because Chen and Shadow Fiend both, I don't remember seeing them go down. So that's probably on me. Looks like Team USA is setting up to take Roche over here. Frack pops the focus fire on him. Visage Familiars go to work. Diebear is standing over here on the Radiant side of the river, so they clearly DSD know that this is going on. But I'm not certain their heroes are going to respawn in time to contest it. Not at all. But they're going to pick that Aegis up very quickly, and it's going to go straight to Meepo. So I'm not at all surprised by that. Level 21 Meepo hitting very, very hard over here. I wish we knew what his net worth is, but of course that graph is broken for Meepo. And now we can see Team USA going to go straight in towards mid. They don't have Meepo. Actually, none of the Meepos went with them. And we can see the main Meepo Prime's got that Sheepstick up. Another great lasso straight onto Enigma. Tusk balls in, Polar punches Enigma, goes down without getting a black hole off once again. Despite the Visage stuns coming out, 3-4-3. Knocking down these creeps. Shin Jumper has been doing an excellent job of picking off this Enigma, really just prioritizing him over every other hero at the middle of the fight. Toranjui is going to have to start making much better use of this Blink Dagger, staying back so as to keep Bat Rider from getting that lasso off on him. But we can see Nautilus in a very dangerous position here. He's going to get found by the entire Radiant team, immediately going to go on Diebear, hexes him up, gets a huge poof, but it's 4-on-1 right now, or 4-on-5, maybe. Tons of Meepos. Huge poof damage coming out, blows up the Tusk as well, and he's got the Aegis, so he doesn't really mind going down. Steep Hill comes in, meanwhile, takes out the Bat Rider. Meepo's going to respawn thanks to that. Frack over on the other side finished off the Shadow Fiend. That's 4 for nothing but an Aegis and might become a 5. Nautilus throws out the Earthbind on Dux, misses the first, poofs in all the Meepos, doesn't do a ton of damage, but there's that big Geostrike slow coming out. Dux gets netted up, and that's the end of Dux. That's 5 for nothing but an Aegis. Huge victory coming out for Team USA there. And that's going to be a Tier 2 tower, and maybe even a Tier 3? They've got enormous pushing power with the Visage Birds. and with Tiny's Ags and with all the Meepos, of course. They've got at least 20 seconds, 15 seconds rather, before DSD is going to be able to put up any sort of a defense. Over here, Notavirus gets a little aggressive on that Warlock, but it's not enough. Ice Shards comes out, Tier 3 goes down. The team sets to work on the racks immediately, doing a lot of damage to it. Tiny just swinging that club. He's got the AC up, both racks go down. Shadow Fiend's going to be up in just 2 seconds, and yeah, we're going to see Team USA is just going to wisely back. Not going to overextend too much, immediately going to go in for the Tier 2 top, and I think they're going to be able to get it. Boots of Travel comes out on Meepo, as this tower is melting very, very fast to the damage from Tiny and the Visage Birds. Lasso comes in from Shin Jumper, catches out the Visage. Black Hole coming out from Torn Chewy, catches 3. Warlock Golem comes in over the top, but it's too late. Everybody's already dead. Avalor goes down to the Tusk at least, but Warlock is down to a Blink Poof coming in from Notavirus. Steepio chasing out 6-7, tosses him up, Earthbind, and he's going to go down very quickly. Buyback from the Warlock, but he's not going to be able to do anything. He doesn't have Golems available. All he can do is throw out a little bit of Fatal Bonds, and there's the GG coming out from 3-4-3. Very nicely played by Team USA. Very nicely played by both teams. I would say a very entertaining game to watch. Excellent job on the Meepo from Notavirus, but I'd love to highlight some great plays by Shin Jumper on that Bat Rider, really focusing down that Enigma relentlessly, just picking him off time and time again. And really just a classy game from both sides, really, and an excellent display from Notavirus of just what Meepo is capable of. He's not a popular hero. I believe when he got the buff this last patch of getting his extra Meepos earlier, the usual joke was that it lets him start feeding 1 level earlier. But very nicely played by Notavirus, ended with 1056 XP per minute, 13, 3, and 10. Really just dominated that game with his performance, and very, very nicely done. So thank you everybody for joining me today. I'm going to close out, go back, find the next lobby, and we'll get started with Game 2 in just a moment.